last panel discussion for the day, and rather for the evening. And this panel actually talks about the winning formulas for aftermarket distribution. And once again, there'll be opportunities for Q&A. So please do raise your hand, and we will bring a microphone to you at the soonest. Can I please take this opportunity and now invite our panel on stage? Our moderator for this panel is Sarang Sambre. He is the Senior Director for Industry Solutions at Synchron. He will moderate a panel full of excellent panelists. And I would like to introduce our first panelist, Mr. Stefan Stritzler. He is the Director for Spare Parts Sales and Marketing at Jufali Commercial Vehicles. Mr. Samir Kozem, the Sales Director for Petromin Nissan. And Mr. Ahmed Majrashi, the After Sales Director for Al Majdoui Motors. Welcome to our panelists and our moderator. The stage is all yours.
Okay, we will go ahead and get started. Everyone, thank you so much for joining our panel discussion today. As mentioned, the topic of our panel is the winning formula for aftermarket distribution. Now, my name is Sarang Sambari, and I am the Senior Director of Industry Solutions at Synchron. We're one of the sponsors here for Automechanika. And we've assembled an amazing group of panelists for you. We've had some communication in the past, and I'm blown away by their experience. Everything from automotive to parts planning to sales and marketing experience, service experience. Really have an amazing group here for us today. What I'd like to do is just start out with some quick introductions. Stefan, maybe you can start. Quick intro, a little bit of your background.
Okay, I do have a consultant background, and through certain projects I got stuck in the automotive industry, mainly commercial vehicles, a little bit of passenger cars. And to be honest, in 2020, or beginning of 2020, I had got no clues about parts at all. And then my CEO asked me if I would take over the parts department. And I said, you know what? I don't have any clue about it. And he said, you're a logic thinker, that's enough. So over the time, I got into it. And it's a very interesting business, to be honest. So I'm happy to be there.
Oh, excellent. It's good you learned about the parts side of things. Samir, why don't you go next?
Thank you. Samir Kozum, I have 16 years experience in automotive. I worked for multi-brands, premium, volume, OEM also, for all, let's say, marketing, sales, and other departments. Recently, I'm with the Petromin Nissan, looking after sales department, and thank you.
Excellent. And Ahmed?
My name is Ahmed Majrashi. I am after sales director of Al Majdoui Motors, Shangan. I start my career before 25 years. I have 25 years experience in after sales. I start my career by as a management trainee for 1 year, then service advisor, then service manager, then I work for Toyota Motor Corporation for 2 years. Then I work for Korean Kia Motors 5 years. Now I am with Al Majdoui as after sales director for Shangan automotive business. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Maybe just a couple of opening remarks before we start asking some of the hard questions. As I mentioned, my name is Sarang Sambari. I've spent the last 18 years working in the aftermarket space. I work for a company called Synchron. We've been in business over 30 years, and we've focused on developing technology solutions for the aftermarket space. Now, our view is the experience an end customer receives from a well-run aftermarket business is truly the face of your business, right? That's what's going to help to build things like brand loyalty. And we believe aftermarket is going to be one of the driving forces for building value-added partnerships with customers. This is why Synchron developed what we call the connected service experience. Our view is to transform complex challenges in the aftermarket space into competitive differentiators. You need one platform that's going to allow you to align your service with your inventory and your parts pricing strategy. Now, as I mentioned, we're a technology company, but we also do quite a bit of research. And recently, we did a research study where we interviewed a group of 500 professionals. Now, this group was a mixture of aftermarket executives. There were heads of supply chain, CIOs, CFOs, and we asked them a number of different questions about service, about the aftermarket space, about different regions that they were operating in, about how they're doing parts planning. And one of the key insights from this research study was that these leaders believed if they could make the right operational investments, if they could make some technology investments, they on average could drive an additional 10.5% in profitability for their business. Now, when I say these sorts of things, people always ask me, they say, Sarang, sure, if we can make all the investments that we want, we can drive more profitability for our business, of course. But then they ask me, where should we start and what's going to have the biggest impact to our business? And I think our panelists here can really give us some insights in that. So let's start off with some of the questions. Stefan, I'd like to ask you a question first. And I've got to read this because Stefan and I were emailing a little while ago, and he said something in one of his emails. He actually quoted Benjamin Franklin, of all people. And this was the quote. He said, "The bitterness of poor quality remains long after the sweetness of low price is forgotten." And I thought that is so relevant for what's happening in the aftermarket space, especially as we think about things like what happens if you use the wrong component, the wrong part, the wrong solution to fix a vehicle. What happens, what's that impact on road safety or the overall performance of a vehicle? Stefan, this was your quote, right? You said this to me. What did this mean to you? Why was this important for you to say this, and how does it relate to the aftermarket space?
Why this is important? I have seen an attitude here on the market to go for the cheapest possible solution. That means today I have a saving, tomorrow we will see. But if you operate a commercial vehicle fleet, heavy commercial vehicle fleet, you have this vehicle 10 years, 12 years, 15 years in operation, and sometimes even longer. And if you don't think about tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, you will face some serious issues. I give you two examples. One client said it was about batteries. Yeah, but I get this battery from XYZ and it's half price than your genuine part. Okay, what about breakdowns? Yeah, we do have a few breakdowns. But how convenient is this for you? Because they were transporting food.
Wow.
Right? Everything related to food. It was a grocery chain. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes it's in the evening, sometimes it's during the night, then I need to send a mobile workshop and blah, 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 blah. I said, you have ever calculated what that means to you? The time out of operation and so on? No, not really, but I know it's not the best kind of balance. So why you don't go for something which would save this headache? Yeah, you're right, but I need to save today. So this forward thinking and anticipating in the future what this means, etc. It's the same with an oil change. Mm-hmm. A lot of operators do it just after 20,000 kilometers or after 15 or after 25, just a fixed mileage. And the solution could be or provide you then maybe 80,000 and 100,000, even in a challenging environment like Saudi Arabia in terms of heat and so on. Why people don't think forward? So, and this is why I said this quote puts it all together nicely.
Yeah, no, it's so relevant. I mean, if you can just think a little bit ahead, think about the maintenance that might need to happen on a vehicle, you can absolutely elongate the life cycle. Yeah. And even if you just think about what's happening across the world today, whether that be in Saudi Arabia or whether that be in other regions across the world, it seems like consumers are holding on to vehicles longer and longer, right? And so actually that's very good news for the aftermarket space, right? That means that you have to focus quite a bit more on the maintenance and the repair work so you can elongate the life cycle of that vehicle. Yeah. Absolutely. Look, I want to shift a little bit here, and Samir, especially with with your background being, some experience in the aftermarket side, but also experience on the sales side, one of the challenges that we also always see in the aftermarket space, I would say it's a challenge as well as an opportunity, is this balancing act of optimizing your inventory. And what I mean by that is, on one side, you want to make sure that you always have the right part available at the right time to be able to support the end customer, maybe at a dealer, right? Because as an end customer, if I go into a dealer and if they don't have the right component to be able to fix my vehicle, or if they tell me, look, it's going to take 4 weeks, 5 weeks to be able to get that part, I could potentially go somewhere else and get the same service, right? So you're always trying to balance that. On top of that, you're looking at, how do I order my inventory? If I order in bulk or if I order a higher quantity of inventory, maybe I can start to take advantage of some discounts. And on top of that, you can't just stock tons and tons of inventory, right? Your inventory carrying costs are going to go through the roof, and you're probably going to have someone that works in finance in your organization saying, what do we have going on here, right? So it's absolutely a balancing act, and there's so many different levers that can get pulled. Samir, what's your thought on this? What's your take?
All right. So first of all, I want to start with who is the consumer. It's people, okay? And we need to look at the generations that we are having now and the generations that are coming. We can see that it's a rapid consume, and if all the services that everyone is putting in place, the quicker is the successor. So if you look at now, many OEMs new brands try to get into the market, and they struggle initially with the focus on the after sales. And they focused on the sales, giving the best experience for the sales, and the after sales parts was a bit ignored initially, till they realize the importance and how it should be in place to serve the customer immediately. Ordering parts or bringing parts to the market, it takes time, and it's not easy. That therefore customers were not patient enough to wait 3, 4, 6 months to get their car fixed. Therefore, they lost their share in the market and they went out of the market. Look at the mature brands and other brands that they are really well established for a long time. They had an experience to have the right parts in the right time in the right place. Because even geographically, the coverage of parts is very important. If you look, for example, in some areas, SUVF segment works and sell much more than other areas which they have sedan D or sedan F. So the experienced responsible person in the dealership and the system and using the digital tool to make this more advanced will enhance the opportunity for any OEM or any brand to grow and also to have the better customer experience that became number one option in the market. So from there, you can build the brand name and not vice versa.
Samir, can you go a little bit deeper into the customer experience side of things? Because I know when you and I had chatted, it's so important, right? Because it's one thing to be able to manage the inventory the right way, but like you said, on the other side of this, you have an end customer, you have a consumer, and what happens when they don't have a great customer experience?
Okay, if you look at the complaints that it's coming usually to the dealerships, if you look at the percentage, you can see that more than 70 to 80% of the complaints are coming from after sales side, not from sales side. Because the customer being passionate about buying the car, many mistakes coming in middle, he will not notice, he will proceed. But when it is the time that when he trusted this brand and he's coming now to get the service for what he has, it became really a big issue for him if he's not served in the right time or the expectation met from this customer. So as you know, we have the parts are split to categories. So we have the fast moving items, the slow-moving items and very slow-moving items. So the dealership are responsible to provide the critical parts that can serve the customer on spot without any delay. For the major fix or the major parts that required for body or whatever, also this should be available, taking in consideration the unit in operation in the kingdom or in the market, and taking the benchmark percentage to cover that.
Yep. I'll give everyone an interesting stat that I read recently. When you have a bad customer experience at an automotive dealership, or let's say when you have a good experience, you typically tell anywhere between 5 to 10 additional people about the great experience that you had. When you have a bad experience, you tell 3 times on average as many people.
Yep.
So it's something to think about,
True.
right? Ahmed, I'd like to direct a question to you. Look, over the past, as we look back at 2023 or even the past 2-3 years, I think aftermarket has experienced a lot of change. New technology coming in, new opportunities, and of course, new challenges coming into the space. As you look at the past few years, what are some of the challenges that you saw that aftermarket businesses had to overcome, whether that be on the supply chain side, whether that be organizations still recovering from COVID disruptions, container costs? What's your thoughts on these?
For after sales, or in general in sales, new car sales, or car sales, automotive business in Saudi Arabia or in other country, there are 3 pillars. Pillar number 1 is new car sales. Pillar number 2, after sales, which is service and parts. Pillar number 3, which is the used car sales or used car business, which can keep some added value, or we can say increase the price of the used car and keep customer trust the brand. After sales is very important business. When you start selling new car, you have to invest from day one in after sales. The challenge on, for example, let us talk about service. You have two major things which is affecting your cost: the manpower and the rent of the building or the owning the building. Owning building, it's very costly. I'm talking about Saudi Arabia, and also the rent from year to year it's increased. So to control this area, especially for example, let us talk about service. You have two kind of manpower. We call them productive, non-productive. Both of them are productive, but the technician in general, we talk to them productive, non-productive, because
Sure.
technician, you sell his hours, and you shift it to be money. So you have to balance the productive and non-productive. More non-productive is mean you are not making more money. So you have to focus on productivity of the technician, increase it as you can. To increase it, you have to focus on train the technician as you can. After COVID-19, a lot of companies suffer from the issue, especially in service. And if you build a strong after sales, believe me, when the sales drop, the after sales will carry out the company, because it's very important pillar. The second thing related to spare parts, it's you have a parts, there is a cost. You add your cost on your margin on it to make your profit. After you calculating your transportation and cost of rent and this and manpower and a lot of like this, then you put your profit. It's a little bit, it's challenge, but it's a little bit, you can count it. But for service, no. If you didn't count it very clearly, how many technician I need, how many non-manpower I need, or non-productive manpower I need, the profitability will be very difficult.
Yep. I mean, I like the line that, and you mentioned this on
Yeah.
our call as well. When you're thinking about new car sales, at the same time, you need to be thinking about the
Yes.
aftermarket, right?
Yes,
Because
yes.
again, it goes back to the experience, it goes back to brand loyalty and the reputation of your business, right? Uh, so look, we're getting close to the end of the panel here. One thing that I like to do with these sessions, because we have panelists here that have so much experience, I'd like for each of you maybe to put yourself in the shoes of somebody who's heading up aftermarket or aftermarket manager, or maybe they've stepped newly into that sort of role. What's one piece of advice? I'd like each of you to give one piece of advice to that person as they think about operating for the rest of this year. Stefan, why don't we start with you?
One advice is data science or being an expert in big data. Why I'm saying this? We are in commercial vehicles, so we might have 15, 16 different types of trucks. Each truck contains between 40 to 70,000 parts. Then you do have different variances. So if you do a multiplication, this is almost not handleable. So you need a good approach to deal with data, predictions, etc., etc. And the second topic is, which goes into the same category, simple question but difficult to answer is, which part do I need, when, for whom, where, in which quantity? It sounds easy, it's not easy. When I sell the vehicle, passenger car or commercial vehicle, it's one piece. We have to deal with thousands of pieces, and for the clients, why you don't have it? It's easy, I need this one. Yeah, but the complexity. So data science, dealing with big data, having good predictions, that's my advice for success.
Yeah, such a great point. And look, we've seen so many presentations over the past couple of days that really focus on the power of data and being able to get actionable insights out of that data. It's one thing to have a lot of data, but to actually get insights out of it and have the right technology to be able to help you get some of those insights, extremely important. Samir, what about you?
Actually, adding to what Stefan said, AI and digitalization now, it's the key pillar for any business to grow and to sustain. And using that with the market intelligence tools that are already available in the market, it will help everyone to grow very fast. And not to forget, don't follow the trend, which was mentioned by Stefan when he was sitting there. Following the trend will impact any business. Trend is already there.
Yes.
You need to be prepared for the trend or go with the trend, but don't do any actions post the trend to follow, because you will stand alone. And last is all about people. So look at the generation, look at the new youth people, what they are looking for, and follow that no matter where is your business, because otherwise either you will grow and keep having the same feedback and the same perception about your brand, or you will fall down like many big names in the market that goes out of the market because not following the new generations.
Samir, and look, your comments even on looking at things like artificial intelligence. I remember recently I was talking with an aftermarket leader, and we were talking about AI and generative AI, all these new technology getting introduced. And I said, what are you worried about? What are all the challenges that you're dealing with? And he said, a lot of people talk about things like security and making sure that your data is safe. He said, my biggest concern is, are we moving fast enough as a business? Is our business flexible enough to invest in things like AI or just new technology, right? To be able to keep up with what the rest of the market is doing. Ahmed, what about you? So many years of aftermarket experience. What's the one piece of advice?
Actually, for after sales and sales, our customer think about three things: price, speed, and quality. If we focus on these 3 points and try our best to find a solution, we will succeed with our customer, and our customer will be very happy. Maybe the price will not be in our hand because we have a cost, we have salaries, we have too many things. But for example, in after sales, when customer bring his vehicle, he expect from you to finish it as soon as possible within, for example, same day or 2 days or something like that. So the speed is very important for customer, because I'm keeping my vehicle with you. I'm waiting for your phone call to receive it.
Yep.
Quality is very important, especially if he took the vehicle and again he back it or collect it from you by same issue. It's very challengeable, and you have to focus on it. Uh, Another point also, drive your business with KPIs, not by guess or by listening to people what they said and no. No. If you read the KPIs and analyze it, you will succeed. The final one, invest on training of the staff, invest of the technology. Technology help you to reduce the lead time. Technology help you to speed up the repair for the customer. Training also build a strong organization and strong team who can keep your customer very happy. Thank you.
You know, Ahmed, we're going through a time, and this is not just in Saudi Arabia, this is globally where we are seeing a big shift in the workforce as well, right? The people who have years and years, 30, 40 years of experience, you know, working on whether it's vehicles or industrial equipment, whatever it might be, many are getting ready to retire. There's no new people coming into the workforce. They don't have the 30 years of experience, right? And they learn, they process information very differently. So I like that point that you made, that we have to invest in training and making sure that, you know, everyone has access to the same knowledge and feels comfortable doing this work. Excellent. Panelists, thank you so much for the discussion today. Some amazing insights. What I'll do now is I don't know if there's any questions for the audience. One right here. Can we get this gentleman maybe a microphone? Right here.
Thanks for the presentation. I'll take the words of Mr. Ahmed. I like your expression regarding the price, speed, and the quality. If we can translate the three words into another meaning from the end user perspective. Price means money,
Yes.
speed means time,
Yeah.
quality means level of service. Okay? I can accumulate all the three words in one word called TCO, total cost of ownership,
Yes.
which for me as an end user, the most important factors. And now for the new methodology of total cost of ownership, it's not only money, it's time as well.
Yes.
Okay, so which means that total cost of ownership, let's include money and time.
Yeah.
How you manage the total cost of ownership in this high competition, and everybody knows Toyota is still dominating the Saudi Arabian market, and one of the key success of Toyota is the TCO. This used to say, I remember this word in Saudi Arabia from 20 years, they called Toyota شيك في مخباك يعني.
Yeah.
Okay, you understand
شيك
this?
شيك في جيبك.
أو شيك في جيبك يعني. Okay,
مظبوط،
بالمصري
مظبوط.
يعني. It's okay. I know. I want to know how you manage, any one of you, the TCO, okay, in this tough competition in the world with this high exposure of technology and communication on that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. For this point, I worked for Toyota Motor for 2 years in Kaizen department. The focus, Toyota success on focusing and analyzing every step. Yeah, imagine we was visiting the dealer and waste 1 to 2 days, 3 days just watching to the service advisor from time he arrived to the reception until he clock his card going out to his home and recording every second in standard sheet and analyzing this result and remove the muda, they call it the muda, the waste of time that service advisor wasting his time just for nothing, starting his computer, talking with his friend, moving to this. We find when we calculating this time, we find that the service advisor losing or the actual productivity that service advisor giving to the company is around 50 to 60%. And some of service advisor only 30% or 40% from his time is active or product. The remaining is waste. Based on that, you have to take too many actions, and it's for information. It's not 1 day work; it's a years of works. And also, Toyota success to take the technology from their plans and apply it on the service or after sales and sales. They focus on the moment and try to remove anything wasting the time. It's a huge investment, not easy, take long time, and need people to be patient for the result. Result will not come in 1 or 2 days. They did it and fail and fail and fail, and finally they success. Like quick service in 1 hour, if you remember, and also we built what we call it body and paint express, which is we can segregate the business to heavy, medium, and light. And light, we was finishing it with, for example, within 5 days, customer can receive his vehicle with ready and with high quality. But it's cost a lot of investment. In front of that, the revenue was amazing, and
Thank
customer was very happy. But in short, short explanation, focus on the lead time, remove any waste of time.
Thank you.
Use
Samran.
technology. Technology now helping. Before we are using papers. Now we have technology can help you, and like this, it will give you the KPIs and the result without need more manpower to study the muda of time.
I like this.
Take
Take out
you.
the waste.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can I add to this if
Absolutely.
you allow me?
Absolutely.
Talking about Toyota, Toyota in the business of automotive, I'm talking about ALJ in Saudi, as you mentioned, they are the OEM and the distributor. They are not an importers, okay? The mistakes that OEMs are doing in Saudi market and maybe in other markets, that we recently noticed a quick flip in the dealership. For example, we have this brand giving dealership for certain businessmen, and then they changed it after 2 years, 3 years.
Yes.
What ALJ reached to in Saudi market, they built their reputation for very, very long time. And this, what we call it, maturity of business. You cannot expect same level of service from a dealership or a business, which is the maturity is only 2 years, 3 years, while other business having 60 years and 70 years in the market. They know the customer perception, they know the customer needs, they are built, and the root is in this country. So the comparison, I understand your point. You're asking it comes from where? I will call it comes from maturity and the right leadership decision for a long time.
And experience. 80 years is
Yes.
different than 5 years.
Exactly.
Of course. Of course. Anything else from the audience? Okay. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.